Great rises, great rises, great rises, y'all. How y'all doing? You know me and these. Whew, I got the fan facing the wrong way, y'all. See, it's like I'm in my sweaty gym, but it's only me. I would hate when they would make the gym sweaty and wouldn't put on the air conditioning. And you had all those nasty people coughing and carrying on in the gym. Maybe it's not like that now. Maybe it's not like that. I don't want to catch that light. I want to catch the... Okay, you guys can start. Y'all know how I do. But I have something exciting to share with you guys. It has finally happened, child. It has finally happened. It's hot up there, y'all. You slow down the walk. So if you're pedaling, slow down your pedaling. If you're walking wall to wall, slow down your walking wall to wall. From that September coolness hit, we'll be back to fast walking and everything. But for now, but let me tell you, I was so excited it happened this morning. I got this potato thing I make. For some reason, I got on potatoes, but it had everything to do with my coming dental work. I wasn't aware of it. But all of a sudden, I'm eating this morning and I'm picking. I've never picked before. I just want to turn this light down for the YouTube that I lost. I know I lost that YouTube. I gotta dump some videos off. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm picking. I'm picking at my food. I don't pick. Eating is serious business for me. Always has. I do not pick my food. I eat my food. When I get my food, I'm bleeding serious. So then as I'm sitting there picking my food, putting little pieces on the tip, and it has everything to do with my dental work. But maybe it's then again, I've had dental work before and still went full ahead eating, chewing. Not picking. And then I was like, wow. It's taken 6 months, but I am in the picking, the food picking. I'm going to be cutting up those little tiny pieces of meat. So then I started looking at my, I guess my dental makeover as, I don't know, the word profound? Being profound. I wanted to stop eating, I wanted to change how I ate. I enjoy food. But I remember I didn't always enjoy food. As a kid, I hated food. I hated it. I remember that time I got beat because I gave the dog my chicken leg. I didn't understand the severity of it now, but you know that long bone that's in the chicken leg that can get into the dog's intestine and stuff like that? My stepfather had a fit and my mother gave me a spanking. But that's how I hated food. We moved to a place that our house was here, then there was a big fence because it was a playground. Like we played baseball, handball, stuff like that. But all they did was break glass in it. So there was like an inch or two of broken glass in that park, and we used to play baseball in that park. And if you fell, let's say we spent a lot of time learning how to pull out glass from our palms of our hands, or pull out glass from our knees and stuff like that. But for some reason we always play tag, we always did everything because it was a safe environment. And it's like, just, I don't even think they had basketball courts. Maybe at one time they did have them, but they took them out. And basically, the only thing people did in that was break bottles. So, there was a thin space between the house and where the gate started. So I would be sitting at the table, and when no one was looking, I would take my plate and scrape it out the window. That's how much I hated food. So when I came to the realization of, hey, wait a minute, they said as you get older, you revert back. If that's the case, I didn't like food. I didn't like it. I mean, I just didn't like it. So no need for it. Like I tell you, I would sit down at a table and cry. Like, okay, I'm going to give you 12 green peas. And then my mother would have to barter with me. All right, eat 4. Okay, eat 4. You're not going to get up to leave the table till you eat 4. Then I would have such a fit. And then I would take them and then eat them. And then as I would cry, I would let the spit drool out my mouth. And then the peas and everything would come. And then my mother would look at me like, get up, get from the table. Just go. Just go. And, but anything, I didn't like anything. Rice. But my mother, cousin, my grandmother, ate weird things. They ate that, I don't know. They once said in the family that my grandmother was like Indian, but I think she was just mixed race. But I don't know, she started her children drinking when they was like 4 or 5 years old. She started them drinking with her. So that's an Indian trait. She always had this long braid, just one long braid. No curls, no things, no bongs. Maybe she'd twirl it around, but that was it. And she loved Valentine beer because, yes, she started off because I used to drink with her. Yes, on my mother's side. So maybe she was Indian, honey. I don't know. And she loved drinking it. She loved Valentine beer and moonshine. And as she got older, we're talking about older in her 70s, when we went to see her in Baltimore, she was knocking back the vodka. So, but that's because she drank like that and taught her children to drink at a real early age doesn't necessarily mean she's a Native American. But I do remember the time she would come to get me to come to stay with her in her room in Harlem. Her room had a fire escape. And I remember she would pick me up from Brooklyn. We'd take a train to 125th Street. And we'd get off and we'd walk to her rooming house. And she would stop at the store. She would get buttermilk, which is just sour milk. And we would have already picked up the greens in Brooklyn and the hog walks in Brooklyn and the cornmeal, because she made that, what do you call it, that water cornmeal thing, mush thing. And two things of, what do they call it? Oh, now they call it a 40, but it wasn't a 40 then. Valentine beer. And we set up in the kitchen, because she shared the room, but everybody shared the kitchen. But when she was in there and she was cooking stuff, she would set me up in the window with a glass of my Valentine beer. And I would look out, I wouldn't fall out because there was a fire escape right there. And she would cook. And I would get drunk. I think that's another memory that my sisters put out from their childhood, because we all spent time with my mother's mother, and she allowed kids to drink. And I think it's something that my sisters, well, one wound up being an alcoholic. The other one thought she was going to be an alcoholic and panicked. And I couldn't understand where she was panicking from, but she was probably, remember, going back to beers with Grandma. But, she's a funny lady, that one. Totally opposite. My father's mother never put alcohol to her lips. But she used to bring like odd stuff to the house. I could tell every time that she came, because there would be this dressed, when I say dress, I mean like skin for people who don't know what dress is. It would be skinned and clean and gutted, and there would be this big, I mean you could literally look at it, and it'd be, for some reason it was frozen, and when my grandma would come, my mother would fill up the sink and put salt in it, and then she would put the mustard in. And we were repulsed. And we would just come in and look in the sink and say, oh my God, Grandma's here? Grandma's here. Oh, wow. So we also know that someone would be leaving with Grandma. Dory, Jamel, and myself. But I think they took turns. Dory used to have to go and get drunk with her first. And then, as Jamel got older, then Jamel was the one that go drinking with Grandma. And then, I guess they was older and say, no, I'm not going with her. I don't feel like getting drunk at 8 years old. But, then I wanted to be the youngest. And I didn't mind. The thing that I mind was that cornbread and, the buttermilk. And I said, Grandma, this is sour milk. And she said, no, it's buttermilk. Buttermilk is sour milk. But she never made no rat for us. I've never tasted any rat. I don't even think that my mother even offered it to us. She knew her kids. And that was something like, then my aunts would come over, my Rose, my bed, because they all knew about that Virginia stuff from Smithfield, Virginia. So I really didn't like food. Maybe my grandmother turned me off. And then another thing, my mother started working for these Jewish people in New Jersey, and they used to give her tongue. And we used to come home from school and see this big cow's tongue on the table. Of course, we were repulsed. And what we wanted to do was count the lies, because if you had a lot of bumps on your tongue, that's how many lies you told, so you were a liar. So we would sit there and count the bumps on the cow's tongue. And then my mother would cook the tongue and then announce that that's what we're eating for dinner. And I just couldn't. My tongue couldn't touch that cow's tongue. No, my young tongue couldn't touch it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. That went right out the window, in between the gate and the house, straight down to the rats. Y'all can have that. Oh. My grandmother was repulsed by tongue. The lady who eats muskrat hates cow tongue. So, I didn't fancy food. I fancied running and jumping and doing stuff. That's what I fancied. And if what they say is true, going back towards childhood, I'm good. So this morning as I was I was eating like little dainty. And then in my mind I said, when you get your food, you're going to have to cut it up small. I got so happy. I was like, yes, I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this. So my dental reconstruction, every bad ain't it. Just like my grandmother Victoria Day said. I wanted to start eating differently. And I am. Here we go. Oh, this walk, man, it's over so fast. I have so many things I want to tell you all about, but, Hi, Facebook, YouTube. This walk is brought to you by I Like to Say Yes. Keep the word yes in your child's vocabulary by reading I Like to Say Yes to your child. I Like to Say Yes has brightly colored pages with boldly dressed children running, jumping, and playing. Keep the yes in your child's vocabulary by reading I Like to Say Yes to your child. You can order I Like to Say Yes from Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and of course, where it's published, Archway. Get some water. I think I'm going to put my water up here. Oh, I felt so good yesterday. I did 3 loads of clothes. Oh, so much. It's like I walk for those 6 days, and the one day I don't walk, it's like, whoa, I rush around. I do everything. Clean, change beds, linen, blah, 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 everything. Oh, no, we ain't fast walking. It's summertime, and the living is easy. Wow, right? Oh yeah, what I want to tell you about, we're in June now, y'all. The end of June. We did it. We're basically in the last week of June, and we've walked every day. And I even made the 2 days up that I lost doing dental work. But we did it. I was looking at my ankles, which are always very small. And even with all the working out and stuff, all those years, my ankles never really got thick for me. But since I've been walking, and now since I've been doing this slow walking, my shins, can you see what my shin is? My shins and my ankles are solid. Getting thick, getting a little thicker. Ain't no little skinny, bony, frail knees, ankle. That muscle from that shin is coming down and engulfing that ankle. It's all muscle, and it's awesome. So yes, I'm walking. And I thank you for your encouragement, because you encouraged me. I didn't say great risings, Canada. I didn't say great risings, everybody. I tell you, when I come back from the Sunday, I have all these things in my head that I'm going to talk to you about. So I forget the basic things like, thanks for being here for me. Thanks for walking with me. Because we did it, you all. And if you're working out as I'm working out, You're patting yourself on the back because it is wonderful. And then I was talking to my friend Gwen yesterday because I found this show called Black Girls Untold. It's on my Facebook page. And I found it on YouTube and I just said, oh, let me look at it. And these are young girls. I mean, these are young African American girls coming out the gate with entrepreneurial ideas to have their own business. They put in their time. They are amazing off the hook. I mean, them folks work, honey. That narrative that these Americans, white Americans, spin about us is not true, honey. Not true. I don't know a woman in my family that has never worked. We have all worked. I don't know an African American who's a stay-home mom. I didn't know that was such a thing. Well, then I looked at TV and saw June Cleaver and Donna Reed and all. They were all stay-home moms. But I ain't got an aunt, cousin, friend, neighbor that didn't have a job in all my life. So these girls, these are young girls. I mean, the oldest must have been, what, 31? And the whole thing is telling you untold is because they were killed. So as I'm watching it, there's one that's connecting it. We got 10 minutes, y'all. That's how fast this walk is. One thing that connects it all is the fact that they're killed by their boyfriends. Basically, they're killed by killers. Killers that put teardrops under their eyes for how many people they've killed. Killers. So I'm looking at it and I see this one that I posted on my page. And I'm looking at the guy, the picture of the guy that she was dating. And he has 4 teardrops, 2 on each side. So I said each teardrop represents someone he's killed. He has killed 4 people and that is your boyfriend? So I said, okay, calm down. Maybe you're not seeing the tears. You're a little old. Maybe it's dirt. I checked the TV, it wasn't dirt on the TV. So I was like, maybe that's just some dirt on his face. So he kills her. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's a killer and he killed her. May she rest in peace, but no surprise. No surprise. He has 4 tears. He literally goes around saying, when you look at his face said, I done killed 4 people. You don't run to him. You don't go to sleep and close your eyes next to him, and you definitely don't argue with him. He's a freaking killer. So I get through that. It's only short, maybe 10 or 15 minute video. But I'm just not understanding any of it. I'm not understanding none of it. She has a father. She has siblings. And no one, so I called Glenn. I sent him the video and I called her. So we talked for a while. He said, well, those things on their face, the teardrops, mean that they're contract killers in gangs. Like, if a hit is put out on you, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be the mafia, it could be the... he's with a gang and he's a contract killer. Somebody will come to him. You drop a contract for somebody. Eventually, this is the guy. Oh, thanks for walking with me. This is the guy that's going to come rub you out. She had 8 kids. She had 8 kids. Okay, so I didn't focus on that with Glenn. I just wanted to, I said, did you see the 4 tears? It's not dirty. He said, no. He said, yes, Vicky, there's 4 kids. He's a killer contact. So we talked for a while and we hang up. He calls me back about 2 hours later. What kind of thing? I just got finished looking at that video. Vicky, she got 8 kids. She's 31 years old. She started having kids at 13. Nobody talked to her? No. I was like, Glenn, I didn't focus on that. I didn't focus on that. I said, did you see, is that Hearts? Is that Hearts? He said, yep. He's a contract killer. I said, why don't they do something? And Glenn said to me, Vicky, he's a contract killer. Who is going to say something? Are you going to say, stay away from my daughter? So, in our earlier conversation, I told Glenn, I said, I was so frustrated. I didn't know the word to use. Like, I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what to do. And in our first conversation with Glenn, he hadn't looked at the video yet. But he said, Vicky, I think what you'd like feeling is, no, what he said, if it was my daughter, he said, I'd have to kill him. I said, that's the word I'm looking for. That's what I felt. I felt that rage to tear his head off, cut off those tears, and shove it in his mouth. So then, Glenn looked at the video, and the father's sitting there, oh, I'm so glad when she came to North Carolina. We were so happy. I'm like, your daughter has children, and she has a man who basically just got out of federal prison, and you thought that she'd be allowed to move to North Carolina, especially bringing him? The man, he said, if he had taken a sign, those 4 teardrops was his sign that says, I kill people. You don't run to those kind of people. But Glenn told me, let me do my hand things while I talk. Glenn told me that the young girls love that because they get street cred. So say if you with someone who is in prison and they kill 15 people, on the block you get street cred for being the woman of the man that killed 15 people. Now you don't get cred long because from what I'm seeing from these old untold stories, these killers wind up killing these girls. Because they have a sign that says, I kill people. And it's like the little girl said, oh, you kill people? Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. And next thing I know, before the video's over, they dead. So I said, street cred? What are you talking about? So I saw another one. And then I saw another one. And they're dating these people in jail. I guess they send them letters. And then when the prisoners get out, they move in with the young girls into their house. They impregnate them, do whatever. They can't get no job. So the young girl, because all the young girls have businesses, money, doing their own thing, and they take care of these prisoners. And I guess when they finally say, well, you can't be in my house bossing me around, the killer kills him. I'm seeing the same thing over and over again. Glenn told me to stay away from them, but I just can't. I'm not understanding this. I had someone one time when I was working in the bar. I didn't know he was checking me out. He said, I really like the way you work. I really like the way you work. And I'd like for you to come and work for me. I was like, oh yeah, what? Let's do 10. said, doing what? He said, packaging crack. So first I was offended because I'm here, the bartender looking fly, got my little mini skirt on, my heels, and my little bow tie, my white shirt, and my hair all did up, and you come here talking about you want me to work in some kind of crack house. But he was a good tip, I ain't gonna say nothing. So I said, who? I said, the way they've been shooting up them crack houses, this is in the 80s. I said, the way they've been shooting up them crack houses, I would never think to work in no crack house. He said, but you ain't got to worry about nothing, baby. If you get killed, I'll kill the person that killed you. Before I could catch myself, I said, I'm dead. How would I know that? How in the hell will I know if you killed the person that killed me? I'm dead. He said, nah. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. I said, yeah, it sure ain't like that. No, thank you. Let's do 10. Oh, for good luck. I never saw him again after that. I was so disgusted. Do you think my life is nothing? I'm walking. Yes, indeed. I'm walking. So happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. I'm walking. Happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. Oh, this little 30 minutes is over so fast. So quick. Let me see who's down here. Hey, Joan. Thank you. I hope you have a magical Monday, too. Yes, indeed. Thank y'all for walking with me. Facebook, YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Great risings.